down the middle, intercepted!
15, 10, 5, touchdown, UMass!
Well, we're finally back here on the WMUA Football Podcast. You watched the spring version a couple months ago. This is the summer version. I'm here with the Dylans, Dylan Shalom and Dylan Kaminski. Dylan, Shalom, I'll start with you. How you doing?
Doing really well. I'm excited to be on and talk ball. As always, we're not that far away from the season. I start at Rutgers in just over 5 weeks. I'm so pumped.
Well, Dylan Kaminski, who finally added the Kaminski, came out of the shadows with that one. Dylan, how's the summer been? How you doing, man?
Summer's been great. I added the Kaminski. I need to start doing that. I'm too often just saying Dylan interchangeably when either referring to myself or Shalom over here. So, hopefully I'll stop doing that. Summer's great. I could always use a little more UMass football, but it is what it is.
Well, we're going to give you that, Dylan. It's been a long time since we've been on this podcast that we are starting finally in the summer. I know this is going to be posted on July 22nd, and this is going to run all the way into the season. We're thinking about potentially a live show for the final episode of the summer podcast from Rutgers between the three guys you're seeing right now. So it's going to be fun. But while we were gone, a lot of things happened. Not an incredible amount of things, but a lot of things happened specifically around the quarterback room. Dylan, give us the news. What happened in the quarterback room? What did Pop Watson go on a stream and say?
Well, the first thing, the most important thing that happened in the quarterback room was R.J. Johnson is no longer a member of the Massachusetts Minutemen. He has entered the transfer portal. Pop Watson said something that I personally am a big fan of. I love a cocky quarterback. He said he is the greatest quarterback in Massachusetts history. He played fantastically in high school. There's a lot of tough competition. Zeke, Dylan, you guys could talk about that. But personally, you ask me, would I like for my quarterback to say that he's the best? My answer is yes.
Well, I mean, I have to disagree. I know Kaminski, you got something to say here, but I'm going to have to disagree. I'll let you speak first, Kaminski.
I think, honestly, he's not that crazy for saying it. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks from Massachusetts. You look at the all-time list, you got guys like Doug Flutie and Matt Hasselbeck, right? But that's kind of it. And, Doug Flutie, short guy, shout out to him. He's representing, he's holding it down for us. He was a great quarterback, but, I mean, really, is he an all-timer at the end of the day? Or did people just like him because he was short? And then, Matt Hasselbeck, a guy whose career highlight was that he came out in overtime and said, "We want the ball because we're going to win." And then immediately threw a pick six. Pop Watson, I think he's in his own right to say that he feels that confident that he's the best.
Okay, listen, I am excited about Pop Watson. I think this team is going to look astronomically better because of Pop Watson. But do I think he is even in the conversation of best Massachusetts quarterback ever? The answer is no. Matt Hasselbeck is an 18-year vet in the NFL.
Sure.
Steve DeBerg, 17-year vet in the NFL. 34,000 career passing yards.
If we're being
Christopher Vargas
objective
is someone
about
say
it,
5-star 247 composite score.
he hasn't played college ball
yet.
yet. Don't do that. But if you're talking objectively, who is a better prospect, who has a better career, sure. Yes, I absolutely agree with you that he does not have that. But when your quarterback who's coming to the University of Massachusetts, instead of playing for a Power 5 school, instead of going somewhere that was not 0-12 last year, is outwardly saying, I am great. I am going to help this team contend to win important things. You got to take it and love it. In my opinion, you can't see that in any other way. You can only see that as this guy thinks he is great. This guy has the energy, the aura, the confidence to exude greatness onto the rest of his teammates, which is why I would back him if he said he's the best quarterback in college football. I mean, obviously it's not true, but it's something that you have to love the energy.
I guess you could say that. I guess. I don't know, Dylan Kaminski. Do you have anything to add on here to back your fellow Dylan?
I think that having like a 5-win season for UMass would probably make Pop Watson the greatest quarterback in Massachusetts. That's a good enough achievement in and of itself.
Well, hopefully five wins is in the cards here with the schedule, which is something that we'll talk about later is the schedule and the non-conference schedule and a couple of things that can come from there. But R.J. Johnson, that's something that Dylan mentioned. That's the big news here. If you could throw up what he said, new chapter ahead, he said. Entering the transfer portal with 2 years remaining, possibly 3 due to circumstances beyond my control. Available to sign immediately. What do we think about that, guys? RJ Johnson was someone that everyone was talking about that could be really, really good.
My immediate reaction to that is that this coaching staff has faith in Pop Watson, most importantly, but B, Logan Inagawa, who they brought in from Drake. We didn't see him during spring camp at all, but that's going to be the guy that is expected to be Pop Watson's backup, at least in my eyes, based off of cutting RJ, or not cutting necessarily, but RJ Johnson entering the transfer portal. And he's someone who has a really good dual threat ability that I think mirrors what Watson's game is. Logan Inagawa was a very good rusher in FCS football, and I think someone that can at least try to help play offense in the same style as Pop if Pop were to not be available.
Yeah,
Dylan Kaminski,
you go. I think he really worded that announcement great because it truly is just circumstances outside of his control. We all saw RJ Johnson in spring practice look like a really talented quarterback, like a really capable and competent guy that isn't just like some backup off the street, Not saying that UMass has any of those, but RJ Johnson like clearly wanted his own shot on a team, and it just so happened that Pop Watson fell right into UMass's lap at this time. The time just didn't line up for RJ.
That's kind of the question I was going to ask you, Dylan Kaminski. Is it sort of weird that they brought in 2 guys that wanted to start right off the bat, that didn't really understand the 2 roles? Maybe I'm speculating here with RJ Johnson not wanting to be the backup. I'm sure I wouldn't want to be the backup if I were in that position. But is it kind of weird that they did this, Dylan?
I don't think it's that weird. I mean, especially considering you're coming off an 0-12 season, just trying to get as much talent in the door as possible. I'm not going to say that's a bad strategy, but it's not exactly a difficult decision for them when they have to choose between Pop and RJ.
All right, let's take a look at the quarterback room and what it looks like now that Pop Watson is obviously the starting quarterback. You have Aiden McCarthy, the new freshman, Will Perry, the walk-on that has been here a couple of years now, Logan Inagawa, the player that Dylan mentioned, and they're looking like they're going to bring in another quarterback. We don't know exactly who that is yet, but I'm going to ask Dylan Shalom, how do you like the construction of this room?
Well, I think it's really important to acknowledge that what they did with Logan Inagawa, bringing him in to likely be the backup, unless the new spot is the backup, is you have someone that can play the same game as Pop Watson. That's something that I value a lot in a backup quarterback, is you don't have to go through a whole system change. Something that UMass had issues with last year was their quarterbacks all had such different play styles. Brandon Rose was more of your traditional pocket passer with a little bit of scrambling action. AJ Hairston had the gunslinger arm, but he really did not do all too much with his legs. And then Grant Jordan was the guy who did whatever he could to get out of the pocket and create. But with all 3 of those guys having different skill sets, you didn't really have any continuity when you're switching that quarterback every game. This year, if you're making Inagawa the backup, you're giving yourself the plausibility of playing in the same system that Max Warner wants you to play in without having the same quarterback. Obviously, if Pop Watson's able to play, Pop Watson is going to play. But if he's not, you have the ability to continue course offensively, and that's super important.
Well, we'll go from Pop Watson, someone that everybody is talking about around UMass football, to someone that some people may have forgotten. Josh Nobles, obviously, is the player I am mentioning there. Dylan Shalom, Dylan Kaminski. This is someone that when we went to UMass, me and Dylan Shalom, we talked to so many people, and they were saying that Josh Nobles is the forgotten figure in this team, not by the players on the team, but the rest of the MAC conference. Josh Nobles, obviously the transfer from Jackson State, had incredible numbers there, and had 14 games, 57 tackles, 20 of them solo, had 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Comes to UMass and has that Achilles injury right off the bat. Now he's getting back into form. We'll probably see him for a large portion of next season. Guys, what do we think of what this guy can bring on an everyday basis?
Well,
Josh Nobles,
from what I saw, you want to take it?
No, you got it.
All right. So what I saw from spring practice and just seeing Josh Nobles kind of be around the team since he's transferred, even though he hasn't played for us yet, he has such an infectious personality. Like, we saw him during spring practice walking around the sidelines, like whether he's like stretching or like doing some exercise, always with a smile, always joking around with his teammates and making coaches and his fellow players just seem happier, honestly. He was such a great guy to talk to for you two, and I could just tell that he is such a great guy to have in the locker room. You know, even if he does take a slight step back after a serious injury like that, and I still think he's a great player, but his personality that he brings is just such a benefit to have on this defense, and especially when you're trying to get away from the negativity of last year.
Seeing what happened last year and not being able to impact what happened last year clearly took a toll on Nobles, and we'll get to the interview when we get to the interview, but he is coming in to this season with a vengeance, with an anger to come in and win as many football games as possible. This is a football player through and through, and the bend that he has, the ability he has to make the first move, beat the tackle on the jump is, and he has a knack for the football as well. 3 forced fumbles with Jackson State. But most importantly about Josh Nobles, his football IQ. He knows where to be. He knows how to out leverage these offensive tackles. And I think taking the year sitting, watching, reading what Harris Simiak's defense does and not being in the heat of the action, it's not going to help him because, of course, you don't want to be injured, but it's not going to be as bad of a thing as it might have been otherwise for a different style of player, because this is someone that wins with his mind as much as he does with his body.
Bro, I'm looking at these highlights as we close them out here. He's just different. He really is. You look at what they had last year, UMass. The most sacks anyone on their team had was 5. It was just 5. Josh Nobles doubled that at Jackson State with 10. That 5 was Marcus White. And then the second, I believe, was 2.5. I think we were talking about it before, Dylan. Someone, I forget exactly who it was. I think it was David Onaha.
It was Onaha, and then Heinz Peter was right behind him. But it was there were very few players that even had multiple sacks. What was it? 5 sack getters on the team entirely?
5 full sack getters, full solo sack getters on the team. That's bad. And when you bring in guys like Josh Nobles, Justin Kruger, who I'm sure we'll talk about down the line, that's pretty special what they're bringing in. We got a chance to talk to Josh Nobles, and let me tell you guys, he is a character. Take a look.
Ezekiel Altman here with WMUA. We are here with defensive lineman Josh Nobles. Josh, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's the summer been?
It's been really tough. Running through, Coach Green has got us going a lot. It's been a lot better this year of like the intensity into our practice and like our workouts and stuff like that. So he's been on us a lot.
Now, well, obviously you had the injury. We'll talk about the injury in a second, but when you've been out, you've found a love for the camera. I mean, talk about that. How fun has that been, finding a love for something different, finding a new hobby?
Okay, so my family is like a big with cameras and stuff like that, photography and everything. And my oldest brother, he has trying to get me into doing New Jersey hoops, New Jersey football, stuff like that. And I was like, I don't have no time for that. I play football. So during this injury process, thank God, because he gave me the path of doing more photography with it too. So I opened up my span with that. Tucci has done a great job of showing me everything I need to do. And I be at the basketball games taking pictures, having fun in my free time, and not just sitting around. So it's so great.
Now we saw you. We were like, is that Josh Nobles on the camera right there?
Yes.
Last season, you come in, you're all MAC preseason, something that everyone's talking about. Josh Nobles, this kid, Josh Nobles, and then the injury happens. How difficult was last season for you?
It was very difficult, but I have so many great coaches, players that kept my mind straight. At some point, I was just like down mentally so bad. And Coach Ward, Coach Kayon, Coach H, Coach Kite, they all came up to me and actually like told me like, they seen people do this. They seen people get through this. They seen people lose to this, and they don't want me to be this person that lose. They want me to win all the time. So they got me through it. They talked to me so much. I got so much help from Coach H with his connections and everything, and I'm so blessed that I stayed.
Now we know we'll see you at some point this season. How excited are you for this season?
Oh, I'm so excited. Every time I step a foot on that field and be around the whole team, it gets me so happy. Because when I was hurt, it wasn't like, I was like in and out of it, not really part of the team, not really like going back and forth. Now I feel like I'm back to my old self. I'm back to like working with everybody. I'm back getting a connection with the new guys, with the older guys. I feel like a brand new me. I feel a better me from last year.
Well, people are talking about the transfers. People are talking about the freshmen. But Josh Nobles, people forget about you. What is your game like? Tell the people, tell the UMass fans what your game is made of.
Crazy motor. My one thing I have in my brain that like from being from Camden, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. So you're gonna see me running 50 yards that way, 50 yards this way, keep going like and motivate the D-line. The D-line is, I'm putting it out there, it's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best.
Now the freshmen. We've heard a lot of hype around these freshmen this season. Is the hype real?
Yes. CJ, Rob, my boy Sam, they all are like working their butts off. And it's crazy because this is like the best freshman group I ever seen can get it just like that. And they're just consistent. Like I love how they work, how motivated they are, and they out here wanting to play the first game. They want to play against Rutgers. So
for sure. Hobbies away from the game? Not camera. We talked about camera.
I want to say camera. I game a little bit. I play instruments, so people don't know. I went to a performance arts school in Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I play trumpet there, and I have so many family members that like does like acting, singing. Like I have a twin brother. I have a twin brother that acts and sings, and he's really good. He be at the game and supporting me and everything. So you can see me in like the band section, just playing my little instrument real quick.
Identical twins or?
Fraternal, sadly.
Okay.
But we're the same. He's an inch shorter than me, and he used to play football. Because of COVID, one thing COVID happened that I was so happy about was because it shut down a lot of things but football. So he got to play his last senior year with me. So like that was like the best thing that ever happened.
Wow.
So,
well, you heard it here first. Josh Nobles has a twin brother. There you go. Well, Josh, obviously there's been criticism from the fans. The season was not what you guys expected or wanted last season. But what does success look like this season, and why do you think, whatever you're going to say, you guys have what it takes?
A MAC championship and a bowl game. That's it for us. Like that's our goal. That's our main goal. We don't care about nothing that happened last year. Last year is a different team. We got probably like less than 20 players that came back last year. We have all new players that has a crazy great mindset, and I'm so happy because Coach H knew who he's picking, and now he gets to pick who comes in here, who gets to like run everything, who gets to like. We have so much fun now. It's so much better than last year, and we're so much together. And the MAC is wide open. I don't care what happened last year. Last year was last year. Nobody cares about last year national championship. Nobody cares. Everybody's care about this year and who's going to win this year. And it's going to be UMass. I don't care what nobody said. It's going to be UMass.
Okay, UMass football D lineman and UMass athletics cameraman, Josh Nobles.
Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. I mean, there's so much to unpack from that interview, whether it is the fact that he has a twin brother, which the fact that he plays instruments and he's having fun with the band in the background, and the fact that he wants a MAC championship and a bowl game. Dylan Shalom, how'd you unpack that?
Well, I mean, I was there on the scene, and just hearing his energy and his commitment level, it moved me, because this is someone who had to sit on the sidelines last year and watch the team go winless, and to see that he has a smile on his face when he's not talking about football, and when he's talking about football, just an angry energy of I want to go out there and beat everyone, is exactly the contrast that you need in a leader on your team, and I was happy to see it firsthand.
Yeah, and it really feels like Nobles is the guy for this coaching staff. Like, you listen to Coach Harasimiak talk and defensive coordinator Jared Kite, and they have such confidence when they speak, and such like determination, and like the ability to think that they can go out and they could beat Alabama tomorrow. You know, like Josh Nobles is a guy that mimics that energy so well. And Josh, I have my saxophone right next to me right now. If you ever want to jam on campus, just hit me up. I'll be in the WMUA station probably.
Well, he talked about a MAC championship and a bowl game, but to get to that, a couple big games to win are in the non-conference schedule. So we'll kind of go through the non-conference schedule real quick, and then we'll get out of here. But it starts against Rutgers, then goes to Sacred Heart, then Stonehill, and then they play a couple of MAC games, and then they finish it off at UConn, which Dylan Shalom, I know you'll be in attendance for. How do we like it? Do we not like it? What do you think? I'll start with you, Dylan Shalom.
Yeah, you got to specify there. I love Rutgers off the bat. I think that's as good a move as you can make. You put your hardest matchup of the entire season right at the front. You have your healthiest team ready to go. And then you have two games that I don't know that I love being stacked together. The two FCS games, and now I'm no expert in scheduling football and strategically doing this. I just think if you were to space those games out, you have more of a chance of leveraging good momentum throughout the season. So I think I probably would have preferred Rutgers, FCS, UConn, a couple MAC games, FCS game for a homecoming or something of that realm to keep as many high momentum opportunities as possible. But this is a team that trusts that they can beat everyone on their schedule. So I can't fault them for placing those two games back to back, trying to have a winning record going into MAC play.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Dylan. It certainly seems like this Sacred Heart and Stonehill games could be kind of trap games, especially if, you know, it's the first couple of games for Pop and maybe the offense isn't clicking 100% yet, and it's just taking them a little bit to get into the swing of things. But at the same time, like, I think on paper, Sacred Heart and Stonehill shouldn't be
shouldn't be
the end of the world for UMass.
Shouldn't be an issue. I'm saying more of from the perspective of these are games that you're going to win more likely than not. So why not space them out a little bit to give you higher momentum opportunities down the stretch where you're coming off of a win, you're coming off of a high. That was where I was going.
Right, yeah. Don't use up all that momentum right at the start. Yeah, I can get with that.
Well, I think this is something we are still getting used to, being in a conference. Because you take out the UConn game, and all these teams, they have conferences they have to play in. Rutgers, Stonehill, Sacred Heart. And you look at every single team in a conference, they play most of their non-conference games in the first couple of weeks of the schedule, and then they play all their conference games. And that's something we're just getting used to, I think. The only independent team that we are playing on our schedule, on UMass's schedule, is later in the season in October. And that is because they are independent. And that's because they get to kind of pick their own schedule. For UMass, there isn't any more Wagners and CCSUs spaced throughout the schedule. This is what they have to get used to, and this is all of us around UMass football, covering UMass football, have to get used to when it comes to being in a conference. But that's pretty much going to do it, Dylan Shalom. Any final thoughts, Dylan Kaminski? I'll go to you after.
No, I mean, if there's anything this last season showed us is that no game is a gimme, and I think that with the level of work that we've seen this team put into the season, it's not going to feel like, you know, they're at a enormous disadvantage from game to game like it did last year.
I'm of the same opinion. This is a team I think they're ready to compete in this MAC conference, and that starts with playing competitively against Rutgers and then winning those 2 FCS games, preferably comfortably, but baby steps. This is a team that didn't win a game last year. Just go win those games and then go on.
Well, and also Pop has more potential than Matt Hasselbeck ever did.
Okay, that's the quote. That's the quote. That's the provocative quote from Dylan Kaminski to end off the show. Well, I just want to point people's attentions to the QR code on the top left corner of your screen. That is our X QR code for WMUA Twitter. So you can follow everything we are putting out there. And obviously, leave a comment, subscribe to our YouTube page. Thank you, everyone, for listening. That is episode 1 in the books. See you guys next week.